Hello, lovely people. It is a beautiful day here in Florence. I am at the Mother Temple, and I am so happy to be here with you. God and Goddess, thank you so much for this lovely day and for all of the blessings that you bring our way. Thank you for the sun and all of its benefits, the glorious heat that it brings to us, and all of the life, the inspiration, and everything that comes from it, the air, the water. Thank you so much for it all. Thank you for the gift of appreciation and how it empowers our life and makes us even happier. Help us to all plant seeds of truth with kindness and love so that we can create a better world, and help everyone that is traveling this weekend have safe travels. Help us all to become the best versions of ourselves possible so that we can make this world a better place. In the name of Elohim I pray, amen. It is noisy here today. All right, the noontime of peace contemplation today on our screen. It is Sunday, the first day of the week. There it is. Our God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, send to all your angel of peace. To my body, send your angel of life. Yes, help us to empower ourselves in our own lives by being mindful of our bodies and putting good things in, making sure that we are getting good exercise, we're sleeping well, all of these great things that physically need to happen to take care of our vessel, including getting out in the sun, going out and putting your bare feet in the ground, grounding, connecting with nature. Those are things that are really important as well, especially as more the world is pulling us, trying to pull us towards this artificial reality where we're surrounded by plastic and artificial things of all different types, right? Instead of being around natural things that enliven us, empower us, and make things better. Cool. So David D says, God and Goddess, please show us the way to make this world into a garden paradise. Amen to that. Hello, Kenneth. Hi, everyone. I was blessed to have such a great dream that was far away and set high in the mountains, in a place where there was no pollution, where it's clean and clear. Seeing everything so clearly within the snowy covered range in the distances, looking so majestically mighty in great awe of wonders. That's beautiful. That sounds like a really awesome dream. May that dream come true, and may all of the places become peaceful places. May Eden be restored. I love in the Holy Megillah, it talks about different beings like the Olafim and even unicorns, fairies, different creatures, or I don't want to call them creatures because that makes me think of like creepy crawly things, beautiful beings of different species that basically existed in the higher realms, in those Edenic higher vibration heavenly places, that can't exist in all of these polluted places like you were saying. But it specifically talks about how the Olafim the elves need to stay in places that have clear skies, clear water, and so they will stick to the wilderness and away from our civilizations and things. We definitely need to get back to a place where our society and everyday lives are empowering us and feeding into our life force energy rather than draining it. Even watching TV and listening to music, all of these things, like especially the television, this black screen that sucks in your attention. They're using all of their sigil magics, all of these swirling things, essentially to help further program you. The television puts your brain into essentially a sleeping state where you are easily programmed. I don't know about you, but when I sit down and watch TV, I definitely get really drowsy, and it's hard for me to, unless something's really engaging the storyline, it's hard for me to fully commit to watching something, rather than being more active. So it's like I can throw something on in the background and listen to it while I'm doing something else, but it's hard for me to fully engage because it's like it just starts making me so drowsy. It's I like to be active in my mind, which not always a good thing, right? But meditation's the way that we're supposed to kind of calm that kind of stuff down, not vegging out in front of a television and getting programmed by all sorts of evil. There's not any good content that actually comes out. Even the stuff that has, predictive programming and stuff that they tell us what they're doing is littered with different degrading programming, sexual corruption, just all the different types of ways that they infiltrate and corrupt all of the things that they put out. They're not really infiltrating it because it's their content. Anyways, like I said, I'm at the Mother Temple, but the Mother Temple's in Florence, but you might be able to see down here a little bit. There is a gentleman that's playing music, and right up the way, we're actually going to walk down there. There is some tents and stuff set up. I got to make sure that I stay in the camera frame, which, oh no. I should make sure I remember not to shut my screen off. Otherwise, I have to restart the whole program, and sometimes then it doesn't show me the chat and all of the other things. So technology is awesome. Cool. David E says, I shared this live to a number of different groups. My Truther Family, the Uncensored Group, and Siskiyou County Connections. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, Warren says it looks so toxic. Well, we'll see what is there. But yeah, unfortunately, there is a lot of toxicity in every area. Any time that we're in the city and stuff like that. So let me bring you with me, and we'll take a little walk. I'm going to shut this so that the wind doesn't make it slam. This is the Mother Temple inside the kitchen that I do all of my cooking videos. Hello. Good, how are you? Awesome. Okay, let me take this off and figure out what cameras I'm going to use. Hello. Awesome. So, I should have probably just spun you around really quick so that you can see different places here. There's across the street a little restaurant that is like seafood, unfortunately. There are not any vegan restaurants in this area, which is not really surprising. There's not any vegan restaurants in Mount Shasta, which is actually, marketed as a spiritual place. So can't really expect. It's kind of interesting to see these towns up the coast of Oregon and think about how they were kind of settled, and them being like these little fishing dock communities, and people just arrive there and kind of settle and stay. So definitely a different vibe than Mount Shasta, but also even from the coast on the east side. We got some t-shirt shops and other souvenir places all around. Oyster Bar. I think they do live music in that seafood restaurant. Not that I would go. I cannot stand the smell of seafood. So I actually can't stand the smell of any meat at this point, but seafood in particular has always been extremely vile to me. So when people use the excuse that Jesus ate fish so that they can eat fish, I'm really grateful for the Essene texts that show that he did not feed people fish. In the Gospel of the Holy 12, for instance, at one point he feeds the crowd grapes and bread, and another time he feeds them melon. And that sounds like a way better communion to me than fish and bread, because fish just, the smell, everything about it, it's just Not good. All right, let me flip you around so that I can. Cool. Kenneth says I currently in a lawful tax-free rat den. Oh, well, I'm not sure what you mean by a rat den. The whole world? Yes. Seafood is gross. I hope that they repent as well. We got some really beautiful um, handmade crafts and arts and soaps and hand cut coins. Pretty cool. Thankfully, it doesn't smell too fishy around here, and the weather is quite nice. This area, Florence, Sassy Squatch, that's funny. Papa Squatch. Cool. Some face painting. Let me turn you around. So that's kind of the end. I'm not going to walk out into this area over here because I've been warned by day that people walk their dogs and they don't clean up after them over here. So if you ever do take a walk in this area, definitely watch where you walk. Cool. I definitely love little markets like this where people can bring all of their handmade products and show off their awesome artwork, especially not having to, be part of the system in some ways, being a little bit removed and kind of being able to work for yourself is definitely really cool. I'll get to the end of this and then walk back to the bookstore where I can sit down and then we can talk about some controversial things where I'm not in public, where other people can see me. Because, well, I'm personally not worried about it, but I definitely want to be respectful of everything and not cause a big ruckus in Florence regarding any controversial topics. So, yeah. Cool, but it's a cute little plaza here. Unfortunate that it is so focused on fishing and, yeah. Cool. Apparel is cool. I love custom clothing and would definitely want to make my own in the future. I've been looking into sources of hemp cloth or material to start making my own. I I am very intelligent and I know that if I have the pattern and the tools, I can do anything that I set my mind to. So when the time is right, I will be making my own clothes and I'm super excited about that. I wouldn't take you over to listen to this guy's music, but because of my microphones, you won't actually be able to hear him. Um, he's singing "Mama Rock, Rock Me, Mama" like a wagon wheel. Is that Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker or something like that? I don't know. Cool. Sometime I'll have to take you down. Cool car. Sometime I'll have to take you down to walk the street, but not today. There's a little family, and this little kid just stopped right at the edge of the door to try to come up here. And the dad's like, "We don't go into anybody's house." And then within that's one hanky. On church days, we do leave that door open so that people can come up. All right. Whoop. We made it back. Cool. I don't plan to stay on too long today because there are quite a few things to do. Tomorrow is Monday and will be the first day that recording for the church's audiobook of the Megillah is happening. So that's why I came to Florence early. Next week on the 31st is actually the church service. So yeah, I'm excited about the audiobook and we'll see where it goes. It's kind of hot up here. I'm going to open the door. Of course, I do intend on producing my own audiobook at some point with the voices that I choose in all of the parts. It would be really cool to have a Mount Shasta church reading of it as well at some point. So yeah, I started working on the paperwork for actually forming the Shasta Nazarene Church of the Essene Way. And I'm not going to be a 501c3, but there are, a 508c1 something. I don't know the alphabet soup. But I've mentioned it before that they allow you to take donations and potentially get grants and different things like that above board so that other people will feel confident to give to this. And so, yeah, I think at this point that is where I'm going to go with that. So, yeah, it's a lot of figuring out the paperwork, and you have to write different bylaws and talk about when you're going to meet as a church and all these different checks and balances and different things like that, obviously, so that people aren't able to make a nonprofit and then have, take the donations for themselves. So, by the way, I got my necklace back. It is, my original Tektite was skinnier than this and it broke. So I got that replaced and I got this nice gold top here. It has resin glue type thing inside to hold it in there, but got my Tektite back. It'd be nice if it was a little bit shorter, but anyways, speaking of the Shasta Church, yesterday, or maybe the day before actually, because yesterday I was traveling, I brought up the August 8th event. I'm super excited. I already have a group of people that have RSVP'd, and yeah, I'm really, really excited about not just this aspect of it, because this is one part of a longer gathering, essentially. This is the public portion of it, where basically anybody that wants to come can come, whether they already know what the Megillah is or not. Hopefully it'll draw in. I'm going to actually make some different posters to try to point at different aspects of this thing to bring more people in. But yeah, this is going to be a great opportunity for new people to learn about the Nazarene way. I'm going to be giving a speech. Dave Greenleaf's going to be giving a speech. High Priestess Therese. It's going to be a great time, and I'm super excited about it. But from the 6th through the 10th, so 2 days before and 2 days after, we're having a private Nazarene gathering, and we're going to be able to deep dive into the teachings and commune with each other, do communions with each other, like the morning and evening type services that we're going to get to in the 60s chapters, which we're at the end of 59 right now, or at the end of the 50s right now. But these next chapters get into a lot of details. So it's going to take me a little bit of time to do all of the slides. But we'll get into more details about how Joshua does his morning and evening communion, the different hatha yoga poses that he does, and why those poses are used. And yeah, it'll be really good stuff. So super excited about that. If you're interested in coming, let me know. The whole thing, the whole time is free. I don't charge for any of my events. Obviously, the private container, I like the private group that's staying in the house that we have rented is going to be vetted, and it's not just going to be an open door free for all. Neither really is the 8/8 thing, but the public is allowed in one, and only the people that are actually lovers of the Megillah are going to be invited to fellowship with us in that way, so that we can deep dive more into the teachings and not have to do the fundamental basic things. Obviously, the basic things are important. They need to be building the foundation, but we don't really want to be like explaining the fact that, Miriam and Joshua were co-messiahs, and all of the different details about, well, actually, no one died for your sin, like different basic things like that. So super excited about all of that, and all of the future things. Cool. I wanted to circle back to, oh, cool. David, he says, it looks great. You can get the chain shortened. Yeah, thank you. I actually did have them take out a little bit before. And when I measured it on myself, I thought that it was going to be up a little bit higher, because they had me try on a different necklace and they were like, well, these are the sizes of, yeah. Anyways, I'm just rambling about nothing important, but thank you. Kenneth says, an asteroid. I have an asteroid in my fish tank. Well, they do say that this is from the heavens. So some people might say that that is an asteroid. I don't believe in outer space, as we've been taught. So more like things maybe from the firmament or up there that, that connect us with the divine. David D says, you could make an awesome hemp dress. Yeah, for anybody, especially those ladies out there that are on Pinterest, I'm on Pinterest as well. And there's so many different ideas, free patterns, and even more so with vegan food. I love going on there, and I have a whole, pin board called Karma Free Cooking, and different, subcategories for it. So if you're interested, I could shoot you the link to that so that you can see. I mean, I need to branch out my my taste in recipe standard American, because I've been a type eater my entire life, like heavy on the cheese, but like the very standard, cheeseburger, corn dogs, just a very basic American junk food. And if you've been following me for a while, you might have been there when I discovered curry, and I'm just like, I love curry so much, right? Thai yellow curry is one of my favorite things. But my point being is that my Pinterest board is a little bit limited in the selection, but there's a lot of different options in those selections, and I am learning to eat and try more things, although sometimes they don't really sit well with you. So when you're trying new things, take it easy. Okay, I wanted to come back to David B's comment. King James is full of satanic corruptions. Hopefully the noise cancellation is good enough that you don't hear these people. I understand why they were talking about potentially not recording the audiobook up here, because the cars are very loud. This motorcycle is just, it's like, who can be the loudest? It's like, dude, you don't need to be, you don't, like, what? Let's find the deeper needs for attention that you're trying to fill by revving your engine and getting everybody's attention on this loud bike. Not that bikes aren't fun. And, there's just a time and a place, and you don't need to be doing that all the time. Okay. The King James, back to that. The King James is, where did that go? Full of satanic corruptions. Absolutely. Even just starting at the very beginning in Genesis, and the idea, one of the first things is that people believe that essentially God killed the first animal to clothe Adam and Eve, right? Well, actually, even before that, they believed that. I mean, actually, yeah, at the beginning, right? Their two trees are different than the two trees that we hear about in the Nasrian book of Genesis, where Yah planted one tree, that was the tree of life, and that was in the center of the garden. And the devil came along and planted another tree called the tree of evil disguised as good. Yahweh didn't plant two trees. There wasn't the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and don't take knowledge because God wants us to be like, how a lot of these either atheists or sometimes Gnostic different groups will be like, oh, well, God didn't want us to have knowledge because he wanted us to stay ignorant and be trapped in this. It's just very interesting, the different paths that people can go on with those scriptures. For me, the Nasrian scriptures are very clear, and they make a lot of sense on a logical level and a spiritual level. Yahweh created one tree. Yahweh, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, is God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent. Remember the first four. I have some slides here, but anyways, I should get my whiteboard. Yah, or I am, Yah, Yah, I am, becomes, the masculine Jah and the feminine Jala, the first. Then Jah, his only begotten son, Jade, and Jala and her only begotten daughter, Jana. Those are the two ultimately that we come from. That's God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, right? The two above and the two below, the two that are outside of the ovum and the two that are inside the ovum, so that we would never be alone, right? I love that. Anyways, the first family, essentially, the story is that Abraham and Sarah are the ones that plant the seed for the world to begin. But that's part of Yah's design, right? Yah contemplated for fathomless duration about how to create, and the way of Eden and the way of expansion of existence, consciousness, and bliss was that way. And so if Adam and Eve never, went to the other side of the garden and listened to the voice of the false Yahweh, the devil, and went through and killed the lamb and done all that, we would still be in this Edenic bliss and experiencing that expansion of existence, consciousness, and bliss. When people would die, essentially, it wasn't that they are, like what we see today, this decay, this slow, like your body starts falling apart and you start shriveling up and just really bad suffering and pain. All of that comes from living a life of wrong choices, bad choices. And I'm not saying that to judge anybody, because I have made plenty of bad choices, and still, especially when it comes to my food choices, I don't always make the wise choices. I was already planning on getting some fries after this, then going to my next task. And, the way of the Edenic way is kind of the way that we hear about these other, Simcha ascending, right? She was just so happy. She's like, just chilling. Then she started laughing from the pits of her stomach, dancing around, and she starts spiraling up, and her last word was play, and she just ascended. It wasn't this sad process of like losing your memory and not being able to function in your body. It was just a totally different way of existence. And we can get back to that. That's one of the exciting things about the Nasrian religion is NASA means to lift up. Obviously, my flat earth friends, I'm a flat earther. I see how not only NASA, but even the name Yahweh, right? There's the true Yahweh. It was stolen by this other character who 9 times out, I have yet basically to find the creativity in this entity, because they're always just taking that and stealing it and inverting it and demonizing it and perverting it. It's like, that's the standard thing. It's not like they're coming up with their own new thing. They're just taking what was already there and turning it upside down, which is kind of exactly the way of Satan, because the way of Yah, the way of being or am, like I am, right, is that upper spiral of expansion of existence, consciousness, and bliss. And the way of Satan is the downward spiral, where all of those things are contracting, and you're shriveling up your consciousness, you're forgetting things, you're right. All of those things are part of the way of Satan, or the way of death. And just to clarify, Yah or Ant, like being and non-being, are the two ways. And obviously we have the first four that represent, the way of Yah and how we can ascend that. And then there have been many entities that have come along and essentially been Satans or devils working for that path of the way of Satan, that destructive way that leads to a contracted spiral. But the Megillah also teaches that that there's one essential being that has kind of risen to power over time and become the being that we call Satan. That's not the devil that we read about. They call him Lucifer in the Holy Megillah. That is just the devil is just one of Satan, this ultimate being's not ultimate being, but this being's minion. We read about Satan, the serpent, whispered into the ear of Lucifer, saying, "Do this." And so this satanic being was actually telling him what to do. And part of that dark cloud that was leading Peter, telling him, you're going to be Yahshua's successor. It's all connected, and that dark cloud is connected to the cloud that so many people are putting it's interesting, they're putting their memories on, right? They're uploading their life to the cloud already. They've already gotten people to be doing this in various ways, which is, I never really even kind of thought about how much of people's lives are already uploaded to the cloud. And yeah, it'd be really interesting, because they could potentially offer you, obviously you would be uploaded into this beautiful utopian place, and you're going to be at the prime age of your life forever. You're not going to age, and you're not going to have any wrinkles and all this stuff, which part of that is not taking care of yourself, but part of aging is getting old at some points. And we should be embracing these to some extent, while understanding that it is not all natural. A lot of it is what we're doing to ourselves when we're eating death and doing bad things every day. That takes a toll on our soul and our body. And so it makes sense that we start to degrade and things start to fall apart. David D says, "Oh, cool." Kenneth says, "I'll take the link to your website." I'm not sure if I can actually post this like this, but I should have just put it in there for anybody that didn't want to say it anyways, because I know that there's a lot of people that are watching but not talking. Cool. You can feel free to add me as a friend or follower or whatever they have on Pinterest. I don't really get into all of that kind of stuff, but I know that you can send things to people, and you can collaborate on different posts and stuff, which is on different boards and stuff, which is kind of cool. So David E says, "Do you think data centers will be built on Mount Shasta?" Well, I definitely think the powers that be want to. Obviously, wanting those in every city and town. I saw a really interesting, kind of funny reel. I've been seeing a lot more reels about people going into, different government meetings, and one group of them, they went and formed a group, and they went to every meeting that there was was in their area. Anytime the city was meeting, they were all there, whether it was about data centers or not. But the one that I was kind of referring to first, this guy went up and was like, "I have a proposal for where the data centers go," and then he's like, Florida, and he pointed out whatever, like Miami Beach, Florida, or like, and he's like, all of these CEOs, and then named off a whole bunch of them. He's like, they love data centers, so put it in their backyard. They can have it. It's like, why do you guys not, have them in your backyard if you love them so much? Obviously, we know that they have their bunkers and all of their different ways to escape the different things that are coming, and they know that these things are bad. They know how much resources they take, and the fact that they are, these frequencies that are disruptive to people. People get sick, they have trouble sleeping, they potentially, we don't know what kind of fully what kind of effects it's going to have on people long term. Do they start to go crazy and stuff? Because if you're constantly in these disharmonious vibrations all around you, it's hard, obviously, to be at peace. And you're always on edge. You're always irritated and frustrated, and you're quick to snap at people because it's like you're always on edge. Well, consider all the frequencies that you're surrounded by, even your Wi-Fi, your computer, your phone, all of these different things that are constantly just like blasting us with problems. So as far as the data centers go on Mount Shasta, I'm going to be doing a little bit more research into this this topic on the next Siskiyou County Board of Supervisors meeting. I think is June 2nd, and there's also going to be an election for the Board of Supervisors. There's two specific candidates that I know of. Let me see what their name is. Carl Hammond and Ben Bishop. So Ben Bishop is not a fan of data centers and talks about the power usage, the water usage, different things like that. Carl Hammond has not responded to questions about data centers, but does consulting services for e-commerce business. And yeah, that's kind of an interesting connection, because if you are an e-commerce consultant, you kind of might be more supportive of AI data centers, obviously, than someone who is very vocal that they're not. So that'll be an interesting thing. I obviously want to do some more research into both of those things, and maybe even start to talk to people around the county about this, because we can't have, especially on the local level, people that are pro data centers in these positions of power. And it's really cool to see some of these videos that people are posting about going into their city council meetings, board of supervisors, and be like, we will replace you if you do not do what we elected you to do. And yeah, they're really getting being able to do some nice pushback. And yeah, I'll have to do a little bit more research and collect some videos and data and stuff. Maybe on Wednesday, we can get into more of a deep dive with the data centers, and I can talk about that stuff. But I am here in Florence today. Later, I am going to go over to Priestess Michelle's house and chat with her about the Lions Gathering event. And I know my friend Dave has to go and see if he can fix her scooter, and just kind of see what else she might need help around the house. So she's got an awesome garden going on, and yeah, it's really cool and inspiring to see people really not only embrace the teachings of the Megillah with the gardening and being more sufficient and becoming more in tune with nature, but also she just told me that she got like a milk making machine to make her own vegan milks and different stuff like that, and like eating vegetables that she's never tried before. I'm like, yes, this is so cool. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. And even the influence that I've been able to have with the Green Lioness recipe segment here in church, showing people that you can have delicious things as a vegan, especially cheeses. So many people are addicted to dairy. I was one of them. I'm still addicted to vegan cheese. I love vegan cheeses. I make many different types of vegan cheeses. I pretty much always have it. It's a staple in my life. So, yeah. David D says the cloud means data centers. Data centers are acoustic weapons designed to make humans sick. I remember this interview with some, like, maybe ex-military person or something, I don't really know, but talking about acoustic or frequency type weapons, and how the powers that be can use them to disperse a crowd, to really control people with that. And it's really interesting technology. Yeah. Kenneth says there there are great nut cheeses. Favorites is macadamia and pine nut. Those are, from what I've read, really, really creamy. But all of the macadamia and pine nuts that I find are usually expensive. Not that cashews aren't. But yeah, I would love to experiment with more different types of cheeses as well. Maybe even some fermented stuff. Although I don't know, I'm not really a fermented kind of person. When I was recently talking to someone that does sourdough bread making, and this idea of having this, like, this living bacteria type stuff in my fridge, I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I think I might just stick with, like, with not that like yeast and the other bread is good either. I know that what they put in white bread and the stuff at the stores is really bad, and even using hair as a stabilizer, like L-cysteine, or what's it called? um hey Jean, how's it going? Let me see what it's called. Yeah, L-cysteine, Cysteine. It's an amino acid used in bread production that can be derived from human hair. There's also like duck feathers, maybe like boar hair or something like that. There's different, several popular bread brands have been reported to use this: Wonder Bread, Sunbeam, Aunt Millie's, Nature's Own, and Pepperidge Farm. Some of them. Yeah, duck feathers and human hair. No thanks. I don't. Oh. It is true that the common bread ingredient can be derived from human hair. They can potentially manufacture it from. Obviously, they make everything fake these days as well. But it's kind of like, if, yeah, hog hair. Okay, duck feathers and hog hair. And one of the primary countries where human hair is harvested for this purpose is China. Due to its large population and hair collection practices, China has become the leading supplier of L-cysteine derived from human hair. The hair is processed, treated, and then converted into a soluble form to extract the amino acids. That's so funny to think that we're all just eating Chinese people's hair. Okay, let me. Cool. I just posted that, what I was reading, in the comment section if anybody else wants to read about how we're all eating Chinese people's hair. I'm actually kind of curious about their hair collection process. Anyways, I'll do that later. Bob says, oh, cool. Gene says he's doing great. Awesome. Misty Green and Blue, UFO. Love to love. I'm not sure what is Misty Blue, but besides from maybe that, I don't know. Glad that you stopped by, though. Hey, Ramsey, what's a good way to cleanse a growing gut? Fasting, LOL. Fasting is definitely a good way. But you could also eat some salads. Salads are a great way. Like, I mean, especially if you, I like to eat a lot. And so I'll just, fill up a bowl and put different vegetables and fruits, and even like some nuts on the top, different things to make you full. But the more vegetables and fruits and stuff you got in there, especially of the cleansing variety, it'll be better. Because vegetables and fruits are naturally cleansing. But some are better than others. So yeah, that makes me want a salad right now. I feel called to be eating more salads as well. You could also do like a day of just there's a lot of different raw vegan options out there that don't require like a dehydrator. Some of them admittedly can make you bigger if you eat a bunch of nuts and cashew, cheeses and stuff like that. You can obviously still gain weight. But yeah, I would go on the lighter side, even eating just fruits and stuff, because those are very cleansing. If you do a day of just eating grapes, you could eat as many grapes as you want, but a lot of that is like a water and these properties that are going to go in and fill you out, or clear you out. So yeah, that makes me want some grapes too. Hey, Bob. Bob said, I did not previously know about karma-free cooking, and it is awesome. Thanks. Yeah, I add to it like all the time, basically, because I'm still trying to find new recipes for all the Green Lioness recipes um, that I need to be doing. Okay. Gene says, look up misty green and blue UFO. UFT. Love to love. Is that what you said? Okay, I see that there is a song here, so I will save this to watch later. If you mean the song here, I got that pulled up. Cool. Ramsey says for sure. Okay, thanks. You're welcome. Yeah, I am learning more about my own nutritional needs as well. I'm definitely not an expert on the nutritional aspect of it. I've been a junk food vegan my entire time as a vegan. I'm vegan for the animals first and foremost. That's why I'm vegan. The health benefits that I should be getting are a plus, which according to the Holy Megillah, just being, vegetarian for the sake of the animals, that compassionate act is something that feeds your soul as well. So it's like a daily act of compassion to sustain from that stuff for that compassionate purpose. And so, that brings us nutrition. We can get nutrition from the sun, from all these different other aspects in being in nature, go on a hike. People talk about, getting high on your own supply from doing pranayama, like breathing exercises, and going on a walk or doing exercise, different things like that. So, this is making me want to go and do some working out. I'm probably going to jump off here soon because, like I said, I do have I have a task to get to. Not a task, a blessed meeting. I'm actually really excited to get to talk to Priestess Michelle about the Nazarene gathering. But we do have a scheduled meeting, I guess is what. It's not a task. David E says, what do you eat in your salads? Well, recently I have been trying to eat more like spinach and kale, like dark leafy greens, whereas before I was just an iceberg lettuce kind of gal. But I love carrots and cucumber and apples and raisins and cashews instead of croutons, strawberries. Yum. This is making me so hungry. Grapes. So yeah, pretty much all of the fruits and vegetables that I love, besides for potatoes. I'll just toss in there. But I definitely need to expand my palate. I haven't gotten around to even starting my microgreen sprouting yet because I've been traveling so much in the past month and a half that I wouldn't even have been able to make sure that they got the daily watering that they need and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting into that though once things kind of settle down and I'm more stationed in Mount Shasta over the summer. I'm kind of anchored there and need to be there to do all of the activities, and I'd love to get more things going. I need to be a little bit more organized, and just I know there's a lot of people that want to have meetups to study the Holy Megillah, and other people want to have the vegan get-togethers, and we want to start a hiking group and just different types of a gardening group, all these different things. So yeah, I need to get a little bit more organized and on it, but super exciting for all the great things. Michelle Priestess must be a blessing to know. Yeah, she really is. She's great. I remember when she told me that she was going vegan, it made me so, so happy and proud. I'm like, yay, that's so awesome. And she's said that it's been really beneficial and she's noticing very good health benefits and changes as well. So super exciting. Hannah says all those dishes look all appetizing and all appetizers fulfilling. Yes, there is quite a lot. So hopefully whoever else is reading or listening, whatever, will check that out. Jean, I can't actually click on your thing from here. I'll have to get on YouTube. So I will do that when I get off of here. But I am going to get off of here so I can go get my other things done. I will be back tomorrow for at least the noontime peace contemplation. I am still working on the next chapter in the Holy Megillah, the slides, but like I said, the next few are kind of chunky, and so I apologize for the delay, but I am working on them, and I'll probably have some time at least tomorrow to crank some of that out, so we'll see. I hope that you have a wonderful day. May God and the Goddess bless you.